He is more than 60 years old. It was just so disgusting. One day when I was in north part of North Korea to prepare my escaping, like one night, and then all of stress just released. Oh, we are free in this Thailand. And we went to just market to buy some food because there are North Korean defectors who already lived in China, so they have money in their pocket. And I borrowed the money. Hey, I'm so hungry. I need food. And so let's go to find a market. And then we went there and eat some food. And we had to go to the Thai police so that we can say that, oh, I want to go to South Korea. So there are many North Korean defectors go through this way to go to South Korea. So the police in Thailand already know. If someone say, I want to go to South Korea, they already know what to do. So we went there, and at the time I knew that the English was South Korea and help me. So I didn't quite make a perfect sentence. I want to go to South Korea. I just said, please want to South Korea and help me. So like they just like smiled, and then they put us in jail because we had to be there in jail, not like a palace, not a house, not a room. We had to be in jail to check refugee status. So go through the refugee status. We had to be also with the real criminals in Thailand. And for 7 days, we also took a picture, like you saw in the media, like the criminals took a picture, like
Mugshots.
mugshots.
Yes, it's called a mugshot.
Yeah, we took the mugshot too. So like it was so funny. Bigger clothes, maybe the darker clothes, and all clothes are same. And then took mugshots. And after 7 days, we are finally to be in other jail with other North Korean defectors already arrived there. So at the time, more than 500 people in jail in Thailand. But in that jail is a different environment. Already South Korean government manage us, and we can see the media and South Korean dramas there, and somehow we can eat South Korean food. The South Korean embassy people provide, not all the time, maybe once a month. So I stayed there more than 40 days, and after 50 days, finally I came to South Korea by airplane. Oh, we couldn't contact with the South Korean government directly. They already know Thailand, already Thailand and South Korean government have a relationship. So they just go through that process naturally to us. So we don't contact just directly to South Korean government.
Right, so Thailand government is rather welcoming the North Koreans, even though they are put in jails. It's just a formality.
Yeah, that's exactly true.
And so you would say Chinese and Laos government are more closer to North Korean government and hostile to North Korean defectors?
So Chinese government is, like China is a communism, socialist country. So during the war between the North and South, America supported South Korea and China supported North Korea. That relationship is going on still. So North Korean people escaped to come to China, but Chinese government all the time catch the North Korean defectors and send back to North Korea, even though they knew, Chinese government know if North Koreans back to North Korea, they will be in jail or they will be executed. There is no humanity protect. But not Laos, the police in Thailand is more welcoming to us. Yep, I can say I will do again. So before I escaped, I had no idea. If I met the broker in North Korea, what he said to me, okay, you can go to South Korea. And I was shocked because what I learned about South Korea is our enemy. Even though, in the other hand, they teach us we are one people, we have to be unified. But also they make us to hate South Koreans. So I thought if I go to South Korea, I might be killed. So I asked just broker, hey, if I go to South Korea, people will kill me. And he said, no, no, no worry. It's my son already lives in South Korea. He escaped. But my purpose at the first time was just going to China to be sold. Because in my hometown, there are not many sources to escape. Many people are from like north part of North Korea. They already knew they can go to South Korea to be free person or maybe to be sold. There are options they can know to escape. But in my hometown, it's very few people. Even we cannot spread that kind of like information to others. So I thought like to be free person, it was the only option that I can be sold to Chinese guy. I had no idea. And then he said to me, if you go to South Korea, like you have to pay. So instead of to be sold, I want you to go to South Korea to make your life, and then you have to pay back $7,000. So it was my deal to escape. So first time, he said that if like to go to South Korea, just go to China first, and then you will take an airplane and to be in South Korea. So I thought, okay, within 7 days, I will be in South Korea. But it took more than 50 days. Like go through China to be faced the sexual harassment and the hike over 7 hours without like eating any food. Just only mental strength made me this way. But even though I was regretting when I hiked like to Laos Mountain, I will make it again because it is worth it to face my life to get freedom. There are lots of options that I can make my life instead of obey for North Korean regime. So I will make it again, definitely. That's a very good question. Brokers are not nice. They are businessmen. And my broker that I met in North Korea, actually, I knew that from my dad. So my dad traveled to north part of North Korea. In the train, they met each other and they became friends. The broker guy, visits my hometown to do his business. So while he is in my hometown, he stayed in my house for a few days. At the time, I just asked him directly. I heard North Korean girls can go to China to be sold. So I really want to make a way to be a free person. Could you help me, please? But already in my home, we had a discussion. I want to go to China and for freedom. And my grandparents supported me, and my dad also knew that. But it's a long story to describe my family background, but my dad started a new life, so he lived with my stepmom and my half brother, my half sister. But I didn't say I will go to China to be person to my stepmom and my half brother, my sister. Only I shared this idea with my dad. So my dad already knew and my grandparents knew, and he already knew I'm gonna make it that way, and he always support me. And then at the time he said that, hey, if your dad agree with that, I will help you. That's why it starts my journey to preparing my escaping. But he is not a nice guy. He is more than 60 years old. He doesn't have any he has bald hair. It was just so disgusting. One day when I was in north part of North Korea to prepare my escaping, like one night he approached me and then just wanna try to rape me. And all of North Korean women have to face this situation. We cannot deny with that because our destination to go to other country. So if we fight with them, we cannot get any benefit of our lives. And even though we fight each other, there is no any protection from the law. There is no protect like system for women in North Korea. So no idea. But I can say I am grateful that I met even the evil guy to help me to escape, right? All of North Korean women's story. Yeah. So we didn't, like, since I met the North Korean broker, we don't need to contact with the Chinese broker because they already had their business route. So North Korean broker guy and Chinese broker, and they already made their line to make their businesses. So already they contact each other by phone. Even North Korean, the broker has a Chinese phone because he lives near Chinese border, so he can get the Chinese call, and he can get a signal to call with them. So they made their way to business, and then all the time they made their arrangement. And if I go to Xinjiang, there are the other brokers. And if I go to Gyeongmyeong in China, there is also other brokers. So maybe totally I met 10 brokers go through my way to escape from China and Laos and Thailand. No, I didn't pay firstly. I was just so lucky because the North Korean broker said that if I go to South Korea, you can pay back. Because I didn't have money at the time. Like, I cannot offer $7,000. So I just promised I'm gonna pay back if I go to South Korea. So my life was tough to start in South Korea because of the debt of $7,000 to back to my broker. Or just I paid one broker in South Korea, which is they just like connected each other, but also the broker is a North Korean defector. North Korean defector already knew that the path to escape, so they made their business with the Chinese brokers or North Korean brokers. So I paid one broker. Yeah, definitely. That is just like a sexual slave. There is no choice rather than to be political slave in North Korea without any choices, without any freedom, and then without any optional things that I can find who I am. I was thinking just like even though to be sold to Chinese guy and sexual slave, there are at least there is a freedom that I can leave to go to other country. So I already knew that information. China is better than North Korea, and South Korea is better than China because of my grandparents' background. My grandfather was born in South Korea, and when he was 2 years old, South Korea was very poor, so they had to immigrate to China, and then they settled down there. So my grandfather lived in China over 20 years, and then when the war between the South and North, he went to North Korea to support North Korean soldiers, and then he couldn't come back. That's why I was born in North Korea. And after a few decades, he visits relatives in China, and then he got the idea. And also, my grandmother was in China with my grandfather for I think more than 5 times. So they already got the information out from North Korea, and then they told me when I was 15. North Korea is the poor country, is the poorest country, and then China is much better, and South Korea is much, much better than China. So I already knew that if I go to China, I can be free person. Even though to be sold the first time, it was my plan to live in China with a Chinese guy that I never met before, but just like as a husband, and if I speak Chinese language, I will just escape again to go to Canada and America. So it was my first plan. So there are just a few ways, but mostly other North Korean defectors go through my path too. So China and Laos and Thailand. But before other North Koreans go through the China, Myanmar, and Vietnam and South Korea that way. But nowadays, mostly majority North Korean defectors that path that I go through. It's a long journey to make my way to live as a free person. So I talked about how I escaped. So I hope you understand this way how we make our ways, and hope you this information give you that opportunity you can understand more about North Korea. So please subscribe and share with your friends so that many people can recognize our journey of escaping and help North Korean defectors finally they can be free person. Thank you. Bye.